Joining us now is Heritage Center for National Defense, former Pentagon official, and former Navy Captain Brent Sadler. Brent, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Good to be with you.
What's your take on what went on in Syria over the weekend? Should we be concerned that this is actually spreading now?
Well, absolutely, there should be concern because the group that's having these successes, this coalition of rebel groups, are made up of ex-affiliates of al-Qaeda. And so while they might have moderated their positions, or at least their language, the core of what they are still jihadists and terrorists. And so while our enemy of our enemy is our ally in this case, we need to be careful about how it unfolds. But I think it's very, very important that it's happening now because Iran's proxies, notably Hezbollah, has been under severe pressure under unrelenting Israeli attacks, have been very successful. So the Assad regime is facing perhaps an existential threat for the first time in many years.
Yeah, it looks that way. Meanwhile, the Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire seems to be holding, despite ongoing Israeli airstrikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon and on Syria's border with Lebanon over the weekend. Israeli officials said that they're in response to ceasefire violations by the Iranian-backed terrorist group. Hamas leaders also reportedly holding ceasefire talks with Egyptian security officials in Cairo yesterday. Brent, do you see a ceasefire across the board here happening anytime soon?
Not necessarily across the board. I think the reason it's holding right now in southern Lebanon and northern Israel is that both sides see this pause as beneficial to them. Certainly Hezbollah has been on its back feet right now, and now with their ally in Syria, Assad, also coming under extreme pressure, the last thing they want to do is reignite a fight they can't win against Israel. And Iran, I think, is also important on this. They've been signaling to Hezbollah before these recent developments in Syria to take the offer for a ceasefire because they, too, fear losing the crown jewel proxy of Hezbollah in Beirut.
China reportedly studying Russia's sanctions evasion to prepare for potential Taiwan conflict, according to the Wall Street Journal. They write this: an interagency group set up by China in the months following the full-scale invasion has studied the impact of sanctions and produced reports regularly for the country's leadership. That's interesting. Meanwhile, Taiwan's president made a two-day stopover in Hawaii as part of a Pacific Island tour. He met with U.S. lawmakers, visited a State Department-funded think tank and the University of Hawaii. China's foreign ministry condemned the visit and lodged a complaint with the United States. Brent, your reaction?
Well, this isn't the first time that a sitting or former president from Taiwan has visited the island or passed through the United States on to nations that do recognize it. So, and in fact, a president that Beijing found very favorable, President Ma, had visited Hawaii twice and visited these same venues. So this is really much ado about nothing. Familiar talking points coming out of Beijing, and certainly the United States and Americans should be able to meet whoever they want to in the world stage.
Well, look, we've been talking about the FBI all morning, given the weaponization of all of these agencies, Brent. Let me bring in Liz Peek on that. Liz.
Well, I actually want to ask something about Taiwan. I mean, is this visit, do you think, in anticipation of a change of president in the United States? Is there some sense in Taiwan that Donald Trump is going to change policy vis-a-vis Taiwan and their situation in regards to China? What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure that there's going to be much anticipation that a new Trump administration would act much differently than it did the first term, and that is fundamentally change America's position, decades-long position of not recognizing Taiwan's independence and encouraging a peaceful resolution of the dispute across the Taiwan Strait. But that being said, there's lots of questions across the world amongst many of our friends, allies, and enemies, exactly which direction President Trump will go. And so it wouldn't be surprising that while in Hawaii, the President Lai was also trying to get insights as to what to expect.
So are you expecting— It
is, after all, the home of Indo-PACOM. Are
you expecting a more peaceful backdrop as President Trump enters the White House, Brent? Do you think things change here next year?
I do. I think things will change, and it's going to get a little bit more chaotic before it gets peaceful or pacific again. And thankfully, we know what to expect, and so do our adversaries. That Trump will take a very clear but strong position, and that's the language that these thugs in Beijing and Moscow understand.
Yeah,
but again, they're going to test they're going to try and set conditions that are not favorable in the next few months.
Sure, understood. Brent, good to talk with you. Thanks so much.